Okay. Good morning, dear students. Once again, I welcome you for the zoology webinar classes provided by Telangana Residential Educational Institutions Society. This is Raj Kumar, PGT in Zoology from TSRSJC Lingampally. Dear students, let us start this class. What we have studied in the last class, we have started the unit excretory products and their elimination, which is unit 2B from your second year zoology. Okay, we have completed part 1 and part 2. In the part 1 we have studied excretory system, and the part 2 we have completed formation of urine. And in this class we are going to study about the following concepts which are written on the slide. You can see concepts to be covered. Osmoregulation is a topic we are going to learn, and hormonal control feedback mechanism. How do we control this osmoregulation with the help of the hormones? And RAS system, which is an important concept. Micturition, which is a urination concept. Composition of urine. What is the elements and salts present in the urine? What it is actually made of? Next, role of other organs in excretion. Not only kidneys, there are some other organs also which helps in the removal of nitrogenous waste from the body. Okay, we learn about those organs also. There are certain diseases and disorders of excretory system. We learn about that also. And finally, we learn about the hemodialysis, which is popularly known as artificial kidney. Okay, let us begin our class. So this is the basic pie chart. Excretion. In the excretion we learn about system and the biochemical process. Under the system we learn about this organs which are involved, and in the biochemical process we learn about the formation of urine, which is all completed. Let us start learning about the osmoregulation. What is meant by osmoregulation? Which means the process of maintaining the quantity of water and dissolved salts in balance is referred to as osmoregulation. In our body, there are different kinds of salts and different kinds of minerals, and we all know that our body is 70% is made up of water, isn't it? So there must be a balance in the content of solutes and also the content of salts. So this balance is called as, this homeostasis is called as osmoregulation. The functioning of the kidneys is efficiently monitored and regulated by hormonal feedback control mechanism, which involves some organs. So there are some organs which releases certain hormones to control this osmoregulation. They are hypothalamus and juxtaglomerular apparatus. To some extent, there is heart also involved in this osmoregulation. Hypothalamus location you can see on the picture on the slide. I have given the location of it. So it is above the pituitary gland. If you take a bigger section of this part in the brain, you can see this is the pituitary gland, and above the pituitary gland you find a hypothalamus. Okay, so hypothalamus releases certain hormones, and also the juxtaglomerular apparatus. Where does it present? Yesterday we have learned about juxtamedullary nephrons, isn't it, which are extending to the medullary region. So the cells present in the juxtamedullary nephron and macula densa of DCT are known as juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay, together these two parts are called juxtaglomerular apparatus, and they also release some enzymes and hormones, and they control these osmoregulations. And osmoreceptors are present in the hypothalamus, which monitor the solute concentrations of the blood. Blood, whenever goes through the brain, whenever goes through the hypothalamus has certain receptors. What do? They track the concentrations of the solutes. Okay, they find out the concentrations of solutes. If the solutes are high or if the solutes are low, then it must be regulated properly. According to that, they release certain hormones for the regulation. Okay, osmoregulation basically means that, isn't it? It means to maintain proper balance of ions, solutes, and the water. Okay, let's learn about the next slide. If fluid is lost excessively, suppose if the fluid in the body is lost excessively, the hypothalamus releases a hormone called antidiuretic hormone. Antidiuretic hormone ADH. It's also called vasopressin via neurohypophysis, which facilitates reabsorption of water from DCT, that means distal convoluted tubule and collecting duct. Thereby, they prevent diuresis. They prevent excessive loss of the. So we need if the our body needs more water. If the water is lost excessively, what happens? The reabsorption is taken place by the hormone called antidiuretic hormone. Here in the picture you can see. In the picture you can see this is the posterior pituitary and ADH is released. Okay, so this ADH, which is vasopressin, what it does, it acts on the DCT, distal convoluted tubule of the nephron. Okay, suppose this is the nephron, this is the distal convoluted tubule. It works on the nephron DCT and increases the reabsorption, thereby decrease the urine. Okay, if we are it decreases the urine content and it increases the body fluid. Okay, so it effectively monitors the reabsorption. Inability to secrete ADH, suppose the antidiuretic hormone is not released, what happens? There will be a disease caused, that is diabetes insipidus. Diabetes insipidus, in this condition, patients urinate more. Okay, so it results in dehydration and fall in BP. Dehydration means removal of the water from the body. That's called dehydration. Because of urinating several times in a day, what happens? Our body water content will be lost. So this disease is called diabetes insipidus. It is different from diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus means the sugar disease. We will discuss about it in the further slide. But insipidus means urinating several times and losing the water. Okay, that's called diabetes insipidus, caused by the inability of secretion of ADH. Okay, antidiuretic hormone. Okay, dear students, let's see. Increase in flow of blood leads to the release of atrial neuritic peptide. Okay, you can see here ANF, atrial neuritic factor, or atrial natriuretic peptide, ANP. Atrial natriuretic peptide is released. Okay, what it does, it decreases the natriuresis. The process of sodium's excretion in the urine through the action of kidneys is called as natriuresis. Dear students, let me repeat this. When blood sodium levels and pressure are increased, this is the condition. When blood sodium is increased and the pressure is increased, ANP is released. ANP means atrial natriuretic peptide. It is secreted from the heart. Just now I told you in the regulation there is a role of heart also. The arteries of the heart releases this peptide. That's why it is called atrial natriuretic peptide. What it does, it binds to its receptors in the kidney and the blood vessels, and it promotes the salt secretion. So it excretes excessive sodium levels which are present in the body. Okay, because of removal of this, what happens? The blood relaxes, vessels will be relaxed, and it will be osmoregulation also take place. Okay, natriuretic peptide. Remember this much, that natriuretic peptide released by the atria of the arteries of the heart. What it does, it excrete the excessive sodium levels from the body. Okay, natriuresis. ADH is useful for the reabsorption of water. Okay, and it prevents the diuresis. Okay. Let's see the next. RAS system. What is mean by this RAS? First of all, let's see the expansion of it. RAS means renin angiotensin aldosterone system. It's called RAS system. Renin angiotensin aldosterone system. Why it is called like this, we will see. There are several changes take place in the hormonal control feedback mechanism. Let's see what are the changes take place. Just now we have discussed about the juxtaglomerular apparatus, isn't it? Here there is juxtaglomerular apparatus. This apparatus is made of two kinds of cells, the macula densa of the distal convoluted tubule and juxtaglomerular cells of afferent renal arteriole. Okay. So these cells and the macula densa means the group of cells densely arranged in the DCT are called macula densa. Both of them make up an apparatus called juxtaglomerular apparatus. Okay. These juxtaglomerular cells, they release an enzyme called angiotensinogenase, which is also called renin. Angiotensinogen. This renin is different from renin, which is which you learn in the digestive system, isn't it? That renin is different from this. That is useful for the digestion of the milk, and this renin is useful for the activation of an enzyme. Okay, activation of an enzyme. Let's see, angiotensinogenase. Angiotensinogenase, what does it do? Let's see. It converts angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Okay, dear students, let me repeat. Juxtaglomerular cells releases an enzyme called renin, which is angiotensinogenase. This angiotensinogenase helps for the conversion of angiotensinogenase into angiotensin 1. Okay, here I have written the renin, which plays a key role in conversion of this. This angiotensinogen is released and produced by the liver. Okay, let's learn further. Angiotensin 1, which is produced by the renin, action of renin, converts into angiotensin 2. Okay, it converts into angiotensin 2 by an enzyme called angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, angiotensin 1 converts into angiotensin 2 by the action of angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, next, this angiotensin 2 which is produced, angiotensin 2 which produce, it stimulate the adrenal cortex for the release of aldosterone. Okay, for the release of the hormone called aldosterone. Here comes the hormone. This aldosterone helps in the reabsorption of sodium and water. Okay, Na and water. Okay, dear students, let me repeat you again. There are several changes taking place in this process in the system, RAS system. The starting which starts from the renin. Let's see, juxtaglomerular cells, they release an enzyme called angiotensinogenase. Angiotensinogenase helps for the conversion of angiotensinogen into angiotensin 1. Okay, this angiotensinogen produced by liver. Let's see next what happens to the angiotensin 1. This angiotensin 1 converts into angiotensin 2 with the help of another enzyme called angiotensin converting enzyme. Okay, angiotensin converting enzyme. Angiotensin 2, which is formed by this process, stimulate the adrenal cortex, okay, and to release the hormone called aldosterone. Where does this adrenal gland located? In the excretory. Whenever we are learning about the excretory system, I have shown you the image of the kidneys, and above the kidneys there is a cap like structure present which is called adrenal gland. Adrenal gland has two parts in it. The outer part is called cortex and inner part is called as medulla. Okay, so this cortex part of the adrenal gland produces hormone called as aldosterone by the stimulation of angiotensin 2. Okay, so aldosterone, which is produced by adrenal gland, it helps in the reabsorption of sodium ions and water. Okay, it increases the reabsorption process. Atrial natriuretic factor, just now we have learned, it is a vasodilator. It dilates the vessels. It increases the diameter of the vessels. Okay, and it inhibits the RAS system. So if the RAS system continues further, it is inhibited by ANF. Just now I told you that atrial natriuretic peptide is used for the secretion of nitrogen, secretion of sodium ions, isn't it? So, but RAS system works against to the ANP. What it does, it reabsorbs the sodium ions. Okay, so RAS system helps for the reabsorption of sodium ions in water, but ANP, which is atrial natriuretic peptide, it is used for the secretion of the sodium ions. Okay, dear students, hope you have understood the RAS system. It's a critical concept. That's why I am taking this much of time. Let's learn further. I will explain you this after completion of the chapter. Let's learn about the micturition. What is actually mean by the micturition? It is the process of passing out of urine. Okay, and urine is stored in the urinary bladder. When we learn about excretory system, I explained you this, that whenever the urinary bladder fills to the 800 ml, whenever it is increases the 8 to the 800 ml, what it does, it starts the process called micturition. So urine is stored in urinary bladder till voluntary signal given by CNS, that is central nervous system. The signal is initiated by the stretching of the urinary bladder when it is filled with urine. Okay. Stretching means whenever the liquid portion is high, then only the bladder's walls will stretch, isn't it? Central nervous system passes the motor messages for the relaxation of urethral sphincter. When the urethral sphincter is relaxed, it will result into the release of the urine. Pudendal somatic motor nerve is used for this signal to pass from the CNS to the urinary bladder. Okay. Neural mechanism which is involved in the micturition process is called micturition reflex. Okay, micturition reflex, because it happens in just seconds, isn't it? Whenever the bladder is filled, immediately signal goes to the central nervous system, and central nervous system sends the signals to the urinary bladder to relax the urethral sphincter, and then comes the process of eliminating urine, that is micturition. It's all works in very fast manner. That's called micturition reflex. It's not maturation, micturition. What is urine? Okay, let's see. Composition of urine is given beside. That means what are the components present in the urine. The pH of the urine is 6.0 and there is 96% of water in the urine. there is 2% of the urea and 2% of the other dissolved substances. Urine looks in yellowish in color because of the urochrome. Okay, it is a pigment called urochrome, gives the yellowish color. Urine. How much amount of urine is released every day by a normal human beings, a normal adult? Excrete around 1 to 1.5 liters of urine per day. You can look at here. But how much amount of urine is actually filtered by the kidney? It is 180 liters. 180 liters of the urine is actually formed in the kidney, but around 99% of the urine is reabsorbed. The primarily formed urine is called primary urine in the by the glomerulus, isn't it? By the Bowman in the from glomerulus, it filters into the Bowman's capsule. That is actually 180 liters, but maximum the primary urine is getting reabsorbed 99%. Only 1% is released every day. That is around 1 to 1.5 liters of urine. Okay, see how well our kidney functions. Analysis. Whenever you visit a hospital with a disease, sometimes doctors call for the urine test, isn't it? You might have listened, you might have seen somewhere. The analysis of urine, that means the test, urine test, it helps in the diagnosis of metabolic disorders and malfunctioning of kidney. If the kidneys are not working properly, or if any poisonous substances are there, any toxic substances are there in the body, it's all identified by the urine diagnosis. Okay, so they find out the metabolic disorders and doctors treat us accordingly. Glucose-urea, these are some of the malfunctions. Glucose-urea means glucose, excessive glucose is present in the urine, that's called glucose-urea. Ketone-urea, if the ketone bodies are more. Okay, the ketone bodies are produced by oxidation of alcohol. Okay, diabetes mellitus. Diabetes mellitus is a sugar disease. Okay, so it is caused by the loss of the less secretion of the insulin, isn't it? Have you seen this, that in the children, what happens? They do not get the signals, they do not identify the micturition. In them, we cannot see this reflex. So involuntarily, they will urinate in the bed, isn't it? Bedwetting, you see. And that is because of the non-myelination. Okay, as the myelination happens, as the formation of myelin sheath increases in the neurons in the children, so slowly they start identifying these reflexes and start getting these signals, and they are able to control the sphincters. There are two sphincters in the urinary bladder, the upper sphincter and the lower sphincter. The upper sphincter of the urinary bladder is involuntary and lower sphincter is voluntary. And in the children, in lower sphincter is also involuntary because of non-myelination of the neurons. Okay, dear students, let's learn further. What are the organs which are involved in the excretion? So not only the urine, what do we excrete actually, the waste product? We excrete three kinds of products: the gaseous waste, the solid waste, and there is a liquid waste. The solid waste is excreted by the digestive system, isn't it? The feces, in the form of feces, we eliminate solid waste. Liquid waste is of three types. First is the urine, which is excreted by the kidneys, and the sebum, which is excreted by skin, and sweat. We sweat, isn't it? And with the help of sweat, we excrete salts, excessive salts present in the body. And this perspiration, this sweating is also important for cooling down the body. By the evaporation of the water molecules from the body, it cools down the body and it regulates the temperature of the body. So what are the other things? And gaseous waste here is the carbon dioxide, isn't it? The carbon dioxide is really removed by the lungs, isn't it? Let's see, lungs remove 18 liters of CO2, 18 liters of carbon dioxide, and some amount of water vapor also. Okay, carbon dioxide is a toxic substance for the body. Liver is also plays a crucial role in excretion because it excretes bile pigments, cholesterol, and steroid hormones, and certain drugs also via bile juice. Okay, bile pigments are produced by the destruction of RBC, isn't it? So, and liver is important for the detoxification. It removes the toxic substances from the blood, and these toxic substances are released into the intestine, and eventually they are sent out through the defecation. That means the removal of the feces. The next is the skin. Skin has two kinds of glands in it. The first gland is sweat glands. It is a watery fluid for cooling effect. Just now I told, whenever our body temperature is increased, we start sweating more. Okay, whenever our respiration is also increased, whenever the bodily activities are increased during the exercise, we find this excessive loss of water. That's the dehydration. It is by the sweat. Okay, what it does, it produces the sweat for the cool down the body's temperature to keep the thermoregulation proper. Okay, with the help of sweat, it excrete NaCl, excessive salts, and urea, lactic acid also. Okay, this is the function. This is the functioning of sweat glands. There are other glands called sebaceous glands. These two are different. Sebaceous glands excrete oily substance which contains sterols and hydrocarbons. Okay, so skin contain two kinds of glands: sweat glands and sebaceous glands. Let me show you where they are located. Sweat glands are located here. Beside, you can see the structures of the TS of skin and several organs. Sebaceous glands are located here. The oil gland, it is shown as an oil gland here. And this sebaceous glands gives the glow and the oily nature to the hair. Okay, hair also get moisturized by this oil. Next, liver. Liver is the largest internal organ, and it is you learn about the liver in the digestive system, isn't it? It is highly vascularized and it is most important organ in the body because it has several functions. The next is the lungs. We have studied about lungs in the breathing and exchange of gases, isn't it? And it excrete carbon dioxide, which is a gaseous waste. Okay, dear students, let's learn about the disorders of excretory system. Uremia. The first disease is uremia. It is the presence of excessive amounts of urea due to glomerulonephritis or high BP or sugar disease. Okay, so excessive the urea is found in the urine due to nephritis. Okay, because of the damage of nephrons. Okay, vessels of the nephron. It is treated by the hemodialysis. So we will learn about the hemodialysis in the further slides. Next, renal calculi. It is also called as kidney stones. It is a common problem we see in many people. Okay, and around 50% of the people we find this kidney stones. Why they occur? Actually, what are these stones? What is the composition of these stones? These are hard crystalline structures formed in the urinary tract due to high amounts of urea, uric acid, calcium, and oxalates. They are caused due to dehydration mostly. Whenever we take less water, so usually that's why teachers instruct you to use water bottle whenever you go to class. So if you are using a water bottle every day, if you are taking glass of water in every 1 hour, every 2 hours, it is most healthy for you. Whenever you are going to play outside, Then also you need to take a water bottle with you. Whenever you keep your body so hydrated, the concentration of the urine will decrease. When the concentration of urine is decreased, the salts content also decrease. So when salt content decreases, it is easily removed from the body with the help of urine. If you take less water, the concentration of urine will increase, solute percentage will increase. These solutes will accumulate in the urinary tract. Here you can see the diagram. Kidneys pelvis, this is a pelvis structure. Due to the high amounts of salts in the blood, these solutes got together and they make up a stone-like substance. You can see these stones struck in the urinary tract, and it gives enormous pain. So this unbearable pain is caused, and you have to undergo the treatment. And excessive kidney stones can damage the vessels of nephron also. Okay, so it leads to kidney failure, eventually death. Okay, next is renal failure, sorry, glomerulonephritis. It is the inflammation of the glomerular capillaries, okay, due to pathogens, due to different bacteria and viruses. The glomerular capillaries will swell. Okay, so you all know that glomerulus is involved in the filtration of blood. It is present in the malphizian corpuscle. From the glomerulus only the water comes down. The urine, primary urine is formed. Finally, the renal failure. It is the kidney failure due to number of health problems. So this uremia, kidney stones and nephritis also leads to kidney failure. Kidney failure means where kidney doesn't function at all. So we need to go for the alternative. Sometimes kidney transplantation also happen. So the person's kidney is removed and replaced by another person. That's called kidneys transplantation. People with suffering from renal failure go for this hemodialysis or the transplantation of the kidney. Diagnosis, see health problems and improper levels of the creatinine. Creatinine means it is the actual excretory product, isn't it? When we studied about the substances which are removed, we studied A threshold substances. A threshold substance means which are not at all reabsorbed, isn't it? So creatinine is the actual waste material formed. Let's see what is meant by this artificial kidney or hemodialysis. Okay, so in this you find a machine called dialyzer. Okay, it's called dialyzing machine. Look at here in the picture. This is the machine which is called dialyzing machine. What it does, see, the dialyzing machine contain the dialyzing fluid. You can see here in the slide, the main artery is taken out. So we are taking a main artery. So we are taking an artery from the hand. This is, assume this as an artery, and added with heparin. Okay, heparin, why it is added? Because it is anticoagulant. The blood must not be clotted. Whenever the blood comes out, it immediately gets clotted because of the thrombocytes, because of the fibrin formation. So it should not clot to filter the blood. So for this, they add this heparin, which is an anticoagulant. So this artery attached to the dialyzer, okay, there will be a pipe-like structure, and it is joined to the dialyzing machine, pumped into dialyzer, and it contains the dialyzing fluid. So what happens in the dialyzer? Let's see. Blood goes through the membranous tubular channels, which are impermeable to macro molecules and permeable to small solutes like urea, uric acid, and creatinine and minerals. You can see here our blood here, the blood with the solutes, with the waste materials. What does it contain? Blood here contains the the waste materials, nitrogenous waste like urea, uric acid, creatinine, and minerals, and it also contain the blood cells, which are RBC, WBC, and thrombocytes. These RBC, WBC, and thrombocytes and other molecules are called macromolecules, which are not being filtered. So they are not being filtered, but only the waste materials gets filtered. Why? Because the fluid is the dialyzing fluid is as such that it creates the concentration gradient of these substances only. The concentration of urea, uric acid, and creatinine mineral, these salts concentration gradient is existing. Okay, except these, all the materials are present in the same amounts in the dialyzing fluid and also in the blood. Okay, so the concentrate, because of the concentration gradient of the urea, uric acid, and creatinine, so excessive creatinine, excessive urea comes down to the dialyzing fluid. Okay, dear students, so these holes are so minute, the pores are so minute that they will not allow the macromolecules in the body. Blood cells will not be coming down. Blood cells will not be filtered, but only the waste materials gets filtered. Okay, so there is a semi-permeable membrane also, the artificial membrane, which helps for this transfer of the waste materials. After the filtration, the fresh dialysate come here, and the salts comes to the other bottle, and whatever the cleaned blood which is formed after the filtration is again sent back with the help of a vein. Okay, it is again injected to the body of a person. Okay, we are taking out the blood with the help of an artery. We are sending the blood to the dialyzer. Dialyzer has the concentration gradient for only waste products. Due to this concentration gradient, waste comes to the dialyzing machine, and whatever clean blood is there is again sent into the healthy person. Okay, sent into the patient with the help of an vein. Okay, this is how the dialysis take place. There is a difference. There is a difference between this dialysis and the human filtration of blood. What is the difference? In the formation of urine in the human body, the natural process, there will be the process of reabsorption. Okay, the reabsorption is there in the body, but in this dialysis there is no process of reabsorption, only secretion is there. Okay, there is no reabsorption process in the artificial kidney. Remember this. Okay, there is no reabsorption in the dialysis. Okay, dear students, let's learn further. The dialyzer has same composition. Just now I told you the dialyzer has same composition as blood plasma, except the nitrogenous waste. Hence, the nitrogenous waste in the blood diffused into the dialyzing fluid due to their concentration gradient. Just now I told you the concentration gradient is created for only waste substances. Other substances will be same. The composition of other substances will be same in the dialyzing fluid and also in the plasma. That's the reason other substances are not being filtered. Okay, dialyzing machine can filter the glucose and valuable albumins and globulins also, but their composition is maintained proper, and only concentration gradient is created for the waste substances. Since the waste substances concentration gradient is created by the process of osmosis, the solutes transfer from the from the region of high concentration to the region of low concentration through semi-permeable membrane. The basic process which is involved in the dialyzing machine is the osmosis. Okay, cleaning the blood through the dialyzer is called as dialysis. Cleaned blood pumped back into the vein. Okay, and vein with the help of vein we again inject to the patient. Dialysis is used by the patient with renal failure only, and it takes around 2 to 6 hours. Takes around 2 to 6 hours. Okay, dear students, let's see what we have learned from this chapter. And let's have some assignments. So you need to keep a separate notes for the zoology subject, and you need to write down the running notes in from one side, and the other side you must write down the assignments. So note down these points. There are long answer type questions, short answer type questions, and very short answer type questions. Distinguish between juxtaglomerular cells and macula densa. What is the juxtaglomerular apparatus? Just now I told you. Distinguish between the enzyme renin and renin, isn't it? So renin is seen in the digestive system, and this renin is seen in the osmoregulation. What is mean by the term osmoregulation? Okay, we have discussed this. What is the role of ANP, atrial natriuretic peptide, in the regulation of urine formation? Okay. Next, micturition. What is the significance of extraglomerular apparatus? Brief account on counter current mechanism. In the yesterday's class, we have learned this. Describe the role of liver, lungs, and skin in the process of excretion. Okay. Next, explain the physiology of urine formation. This is a long answer type question, which is most important. Okay, and you have to write all these answers in a separate book and send to your respected jails. Okay, they will monitor the class and they see the pics that you send, and they will note down your marks. Whenever the schools are opened, whenever you come back to school, you have to bring this running notes and the assignment book, and you should submit this to your subject jails. Then only they may allow you for the public examinations, and then only they may give you the marks. Okay, the project work marks. If the work marks are included for your intermediate, then the marks will be considered. Okay, dear students, this is the today's class. Hope you have understood. If you have any doubts, contact your subject jails, okay, and they will clarify your doubt. Okay, dear students, thank you so much for this class. Thank you, madam, and
Okay.
thank you, Javed sir.
Okay. Thank you, Rajkumar sir.